Welcome to Lincoln Fire and Rescue on LNK TV. I'm your host, Dale Johnson. Very happy to be back in the studio again. And of course, as you can see, we are taking the precautions. Kendall Warnock from LFR is here. We're going to talk about ambulance remounts. But before we get to that, if you don't mind, you saw that we are socially distanced, all right? We're going to take off our masks so that you can better, there we go. It's like you open up the curtain to a room, and it sounds so much better. And I don't fog over. That's another issue that those of you who are wearing glasses realize that the mask is problematic for fogging over. Kendall, thank you very much. Good to see you again. Always good to see you.
It's good to be back in the studio, in the building in City Hall here, and looking forward to the conversation today.
Yeah.
Dale.
Looking forward to learning about a practice that Lincoln Fire and Rescue does on a regular basis to its ambulances. And let's put it this way, because you're watching us probably from your home. If you could remodel your home and replace the tired, worn out parts, the worn out material, and replace it with nearly new material, better material than what you're removing, and do it at half the price, would you do it? You probably would do it. That's a no-brainer. Lincoln Fire and Rescue is doing that with its medic units, its ambulances, if you will. And that's what we'll talk about today. Kendall is Division Chief for Lincoln Fire and Rescue. Logistics. You're the guy and your crew take the engines apart, put the engines back together, the rigs together, ambulances, make sure they run.
Yeah, any of our rolling stock of engines, trucks, ambulances, we take care of all of those, yeah.
Now the cost savings is considerable, so let's sort of keep people hanging if we could, and we'll talk about that eventually in this conversation.
Sure.
And I'm going to have to kind of pull back on my geekiness because I'm a gearhead myself, and so rather than get into the weeds a little bit, we're going to talk about how and why LFR remounts its ambulances. We're talking about basically two parts. Kendall, we're talking about the body, the red visible
the patient
portion.
Compartment.
Right. The patient compartment of the medic unit and the frame, which is the chassis.
Yep. Exactly
and to remodel, you remove the body from the chassis.
Yeah.
Is that correct? In a simple form.
In simplistic terms, that's exactly right, Dale.
And why do you do that?
So Lincoln Fire and Rescue, our call volume is significant. I can tell you, and I can tell the audience, that our medic units put on about 30,000 miles a year with our frontline medic units. We have 7 front lines, 5 in reserve. So it doesn't take long to get to the point where we need to make decisions and fiscally responsible decisions in terms of removing the chassis and the patient compartment and putting a new chassis underneath that patient compartment. And in terms of minimizing breakdowns, we want to be able to make it to Dale's house, to Kendall's house. Whenever we have calls running out the door, we want those medic units to be able to make those calls. So we do that strategically. We look for mile indications in terms of when is that vehicle, just like our own vehicles, when are those vehicles going to start to deteriorate and start to break down, start to cause issues, start to leave us stranded, things like that. And we've done a pretty good job of that over the last 7-8 years.
You mentioned miles. At what point does it get your attention and perhaps starts to warrant considering a remodel?
Well, the challenge is the chassis and the manufacturers are a little bit different. So with the Fords, my experience has been when they start to see 100,000 miles, that's when I get a little bit nervous for Lincoln Fire and Rescue in the city of Lincoln, in our community. I would like to replace those chassis at about 100,000 miles for Fords. Now the experience with the Dodges had been a little bit better. I'm comfortable with those hitting 120 to 130 before, and obviously we have to plan for budgeted funds and defend budgeted funds. And City Hall's been great at providing those funds to us in the past. But so 100,000 miles with the Ford chassis, about 120,000 miles with the Dodges.
So the body and the frame, what do you look at on the frame, the chassis? What goes bad on a chassis?
Well, keep in mind, these chassis put on a significant amount of miles in a short period of time, meaning 30,000 miles on a frontline medic unit. We're looking at 4 to 5 years, and then we we have to plan to remove that chassis from the fleet, whether it's the entire medic unit or we remount. Significant cost savings, like we'll talk about here in a little bit. But the challenge is always not necessarily the frames and the structure of it wearing out. It's just the engines, the transmissions, the things. Those are the two components that get tired, start to have significant breakdowns. And the last thing we want to do as we provide service to the citizens of Lincoln, Nebraska, is have an ambulance break down in a time of need for anyone in the city.
All right, so the chassis includes axle, drivetrain,
Yeah.
transmission, engine, from the radiator to the back axle.
Yep.
The drivetrain portion. That's part of the chassis. It isn't just the metal frame. I was thinking rust,
Yeah.
maybe, but there's more to it than that.
Yeah, it just doesn't get to that point that I'm concerned about the rust factor with these chassis, simply because if you think about a 5-year-old vehicle, the chances of rust impacting that 5-year-old vehicle is pretty minimal. But the concern that we have is, for planning purposes in our budget, and I want to see those ambulances, the Ford's chassis, 100,000 miles. We'd like to have a plan to replace them and remount them. 120,000 miles on the Dodge chassis. That's where I'm comfortable. That's what I've told the fire chiefs in the past, City Hall in the past, and they've been very supportive of supporting us.
Of all the units, frontline and reserve, how many of those have been remounted?
I think out of 13 ambulances, all but 2 have been remounted. I don't think I know.
What are we seeing right now, Kendall?
So what we're seeing now is the last remount that Lincoln Fire and Rescue has done. That was a year ago. We had that remounted. That's Medic 10. 4221 North 24th is where our new Fire Station 10 is located. Fantastic job by the remount company that we've sublet that work out to. It's just such a significant cost savings that, just like you had indicated when we started the show, if you could renovate your house and make it better at a significant cost savings, would you do it? Of course,
Sure
we all
you
would. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the money savings, because
Sure.
it's taxpayer dollars.
Absolutely.
And that's important to
Yeah.
emphasize the amount of savings. What would a brand new unit, the unit we just saw on the screen, it's a remount, but if it was a brand new unit and you rolled it into Lincoln for the first time, what would that cost?
So let's go back in time a little bit, if you wouldn't mind. So in 2010, we purchased these medic units from Braun Industries in Van Wert, Ohio, for $165,000. So at the time, when we went in front of City Council, we defended the purchase of that cost, or the price of that cost of these new ambulances, because there was significant potential to remount the medic units. We've done that. Now, that same medic unit costs $225,000. Significant cost increase in such a short amount of time, 10-year time, but it hasn't changed. We have not changed any part of that medic unit, but the significance of the cost has increased.
And to remount, the cost of a remount?
So the remount is about half the price. $100,000, between $100,000 and $125,000 to remount, between $225,000 and $250,000 new, depending on a couple of things. We have to touch up some paint, if we have to do a little bit of extra. But the cost savings has always been there. It's always been significant. We identified that early on years ago, and we want to take advantage of those cost savings. Like you said, we're dealing with taxpayer dollars. We want to be, as a department, and for City Hall and the mayor's office, we want to be as fiscally responsible as we possibly can. This is another indication that we're doing just that.
So half as much to do a remount as to go out and buy a new rig.
Yeah.
Okay, that's an important factor to remember. Are all medical units candidates for remounts?
So it depends on where the initial purchase is made. So we have some older medic units that are in reserve that are 20 years old that we've remounted early on in the remount game of LFR. Those I would not feel comfortable remounting additionally. But again, when you buy a high quality piece of equipment, Braun Industries is where we purchased our medic units since 2010. Fantastic business. Their ambulances are rock solid. The patient compartments are absolutely fantastic. Safety is of the utmost importance to Braun when they build them, and then for LFR, of course, with the citizens that we protect here in Lincoln. So
We're seeing a patient compartment, the interior of the body.
yeah. So that is one of our Braun units. It's just the Brauns enable us to be able to remount these medic units multiple times.
So it isn't a once and done.
No.
You could, depending on the shape of the body, the patient compartment,
Yeah.
you could do it 2 times.
Yeah, Dale, we are on remount number 2 on 6 of the boxes right now. I can tell you that multiple agencies, New Orleans EMS, talked to a couple of individuals down there, and they remount their ambulances with this same box, the same Braun box, 5 times.
They don't have the weather that we have here in
They,
Nebraska.
they
for
don't
one
have
thing.
they don't have the cold weather, that's for sure. But again, we're dealing with taxpayer dollars. We know that. Do we want to be fiscally responsible? Of course we do. And this is just an indication of how we can make our budgeted funds with Lincoln Fire and Rescue go a little bit further.
Speaking of the budgeted funds,
Yeah.
explain why you don't do it in-house, because there's a cost savings there and
we-
time saving too.
Yeah, so we initially did when we rolled this remount process out. It's been 8-9 years ago-ish, but we had the skill. We certainly had the skill set to do it in-house. The problem has been the turnaround time. So when we have some of our skill set, our skilled people that come in on overtime, we don't know. And keep in mind, they're working on an ambulance the night before. They had a busy set. Or they have a working fire the day before. So I just couldn't gauge the turnaround time and minimize the turnaround time. We could do remounts, and we've done them. We've been very successful with them internally. But the challenge was it may take us between 120 and 140 days to get that completely accomplished. The outsourcing of these remounts has minimized that 140-day window to about 60. So it's really important to time when we do those remounts, especially when at some point we get back to some football in the fall. I'd like to time those remounts because we do not and can't afford to have any ambulances out of the game in terms of being able to provide service to the citizens, certainly during football season.
So the amount of time is half when you outsource,
Mm-hmm.
and remounting as opposed to buying new is half.
Yeah, yeah,
So you've got cost savings
yeah.
on both sides,
Yeah.
on both ledger sheets.
Yeah, and it's exciting for us because we know we're doing what's right. We know that we're saving significant amount of money. We've saved, I can tell you, we've saved $1 million, $2 million over the course of the last 6 to 8 years with our remounts and remounting these medic units. That was the intent. When we purchased these in 2010, we knew that there was a possibility that we could extend the life and minimize the cost and provide some significant cost savings to City Hall and Lincoln Fire and Rescue.
Is the supply of chassis get your attention, or is there ample supply?
No, and that's another piece of the equation that we need to be very strategic with, because when COVID started, the chassis availabilities were slow. Personally, when we go through those chassis availabilities, whatever is available when we have the ability and we have the finances to remount, whether it's a Ford or a Dodge, we'll take what we can get at that point. But the chassis availability always plays a key role in that equation.
And you can swap a Dodge for a Ford?
We can, yeah.
Interchangeable?
Yeah, we've done that 3 times now, and we're going to do it again here in a couple of months.
That amazes me. Here, the geekiness is coming out in me right now. You can't do anything else that way. A Ford, nothing on a Ford matches
Right,
up with a
right.
Dodge if you're driving one or the other right now.
Right. Yeah, and you're talking. We could get in depth. We can go in depth conversations with that, but I don't think our audience wants to hear that. But the challenge is we try to marry the best chassis available. Again, right now it's Dodge and Ford. That's our availabilities. We personally at LFRs have had better luck with Dodges and Fords, just because we've had minimal issues with the Dodge as opposed to Fords. But we've had good luck with Fords too, just a little bit better luck with Dodges.
You mentioned New Orleans can
Yeah.
turn theirs over 5 times.
Yeah.
Is this an industry curve that how widely practiced is this?
That's a good question. If New Orleans is doing it, and I know a couple of other chief officers around the United States that have developed relationships with that do this as well. I think it depends on the city that they're in. Are they, and you hope that they're all fiscally responsible with taxpayer dollars. I'm not sure if that's the case across the United States, but it certainly is here. And we look forward to it. It's exciting. We're saving money and without degrading any kind of safety.
Do you know any history
at all.
behind this, Kendall? When did it become a thing to be able to remount?
Well, I ran into it, again, I've been working for LFR for 10 years now. I ran into it early on in my career here at Lincoln Fire and Rescue. And I knew that, coming from a mechanical background, I knew that if we could do it, if we could figure out a way to do it in-house and then sub it out, I knew that there was cost savings there. I didn't know how much was there until we really started to dig into it. But you would hope that everybody that has the opportunity to remount. Now, the important thing to remember is you have to buy a quality ambulance in order to be able to remount them. But Braun has proved to be a perfect fit for Lincoln Fire and Rescue. We appreciate their support. We appreciate what they put out there for us. And then that enables us to remount them multiple times.
And to assure viewers, never is safety compromised.
Ever. No, never. And you can go on, and this is where the geekiness maybe comes out with both of us. You could go on to that ambulance manufacturer's website. You could see numerous rollover crash tests. They are one of the better, if not the best, in my opinion. And there's some comparable ambulance manufacturers out there, but we've had such good luck with them. They've treated us well. They provide a great product, and we're looking forward to continuing to purchase from them in the future.
So the takeaway today is that the amount of time, the downtime, to have these outsourced as opposed to doing it inside the Kendall shop is half. The cost savings to remount as opposed to buying a new ambulance because it's tired and needs to be replaced is half. So taxpayer dollars, taxpayer time being saved with these remounts that have been going on for years. Can you tell if a rig rolls by, do you know, obviously maybe by the number because you're that close to it, but can you tell a remounted rig from a brand new one?
Can I?
You can.
I can. I can because I'm intimately involved with that responsibility for us. But a normal person, citizen, I don't think that if they care if they know it's a remount or if it's new. Right. But you cannot. You can't. They're just incredibly well done. The significance of the cost savings is there, and that's something that we're very proud of at Lincoln Fire and Rescue.
All right, so after the show, Kendall's going to tell me, we're going to get geeky. I need to know how to be able to tell the difference between a remount and a new one. So we'll get geeky here. Thank you very much. Remember, cost savings, time savings through the practice of remounts through LFR. Kendall, good to see you. Always
Thank
good
you,
to
Dale.
talk to you.
It's good to be here today.
Kendall Warnock, Division Chief for Lincoln Fire and Rescue. Thank you. Be safe. We'll talk to you again on LNK TV.